now we are on to day 4, which was the final day of my Romani Aeterna Tour, and it started with a walk towards the Quirinal Gardens. Now I managed to enjoy myself in a garden that was opposite those gardens. Those gardens are enclosed in some sort of palace, and they weren't open to the public anyway. Then I went to St Andrea Quirinal, and then I finally got to the Trevi Fountains. Do you know, the Trevi Fountains I felt were a bit of a disappointment as well. There are fountains in most piazzas, and most of the fountains are, I think, much better than Trevi. The only difference with the Trevi is that the fountain sort of comes out of the side of the building rather than being sort of in the middle of the square itself. That was just my personal opinion. Then I visited St Maria Trevi, St Maria Via, St Claudia, St Silvestro and Stefani, and that's where I found the head of John the Baptist. Everybody knows the story, you know, John the Baptist preaching in the wilderness, eating wild honey and locusts, baptizes the Christ, and then he offends the local establishment, but he's sort of in favour with the sort of person who's in charge, and the person in charge basically says, you know, I don't know if can't remember if it's his wife's birthday or something like that, but he says, you know, as it's a special occasion for you, I'll grant you one wish, and she doesn't like John the Baptist, even though he doesn't mind, and she says, well, I want you to give me his head on a platter. So having made the promise that he would grant her wish, he's forced to chop John the Baptist's head off. Now, what happened to John the Baptist's body, I don't know, but John the Baptist's head is still with us, apparently. It's somewhat greeny blue in colour now. It's a bit shrunken, looks a bit like it's been desiccated, and it's sort of surrounded in a sort of golden, semi-transparent sort of tabernacle, I suppose, stuck on the wall in a side chapel of St Silvestro. John the Baptist doesn't look very happy. He's not smiling. Whether you want to believe that some of these things that they say are reliquaries of saints are actually the saint themselves, or if they're, you know, if the people who built St Silvestre just thought, oh, we found a discombobulated head, we'll say it's John the Baptist, is up to you. But there was definitely a head in this box. So after that I visited Basilica St Lorenzo in Lucia, Basilica Santa Ambrogio e Carlo, Basilica St Giacomo e Augusta, Basilica Gesù e Maria, St Maria de Miracola, and by this time I'd walked all the way down a straight road, and I can't remember what the road was called. Oh yes, Via del Corso, and I had got to a big square at the bottom, and the square was surrounded by 4 churches. One of them had been turned into a museum. One of them was the famous St Maria del Popolo. One of them was closed, and I don't know what that was, and the other was St Maria de Miracola. So I spent a while in that square before I looked into the church, and then I climbed up the side of the square. It must have been, what shall we say, it's the western side, and you get to Pincio at the top, which is a big square, almost the size of the square below, and it overlooks it. And then you're into the Villa Borghese area, which is a huge area on the north western side of Rome, and it's an area basically full of parks. And you walk. The first park is Campo Marzio, and then behind that is the actual Villa Borghese area itself, which I walked through. Lots and lots of parks, lots of roads, lots of walking. You can rent out these little bikes and these little sort of tricycles, but I just walked, and I got to the far side, the north side of Villa Borghese, where there is a Giardino Zoological Parco Bio, in other words, a zoo. And I looked around this zoo. You had to pay to get in. A lot of it was substandard, I would say, but the one area I really enjoyed was their gigantic aviary. After looking at the aviary in the zoo, I walked all the way back, and then I had to walk along Campo Marzio, and I got to Trinita del Monte, which is basically Church of the Trinity on the Mount, and it is the church otherwise known as the Holy Scaffolding, because it was covered in scaffolding both outside and inside. A lovely church, but spoilt a little bit by the scaffolding. I suppose they have to do that sort of thing. And then outside is the Spanish Steps, and thankfully that was a walk down rather than up. And then the last church I visited, oh no, there were several more churches. Holy Trinity, St. Guillermo di Croati, and then I walked back across the river Tiber to Piazza del Liberata and Piazza del Cavour. I saw several churches on that side as well. La Sacré-Cœur di Suffragio, St. Panatelio and St. Giuseppe Calazazio, St. Vito, and the final church was St. Franceschi. And then I did my normal routine of the Pantheon, Navona and the walk back. But once I did the walk back and I got here, it was time to start sort of packing up basically, and the excitement of the night was checking out the lounge and bar area downstairs.